expanding. So that is what I am doing here today because I have a true desire to connect with the people who support me. I am amazed and thankful for all the listeners that are on Spotify and YouTube. YouTube's been a lot more slow growing than Spotify. But many of you have been there with me since the beginning and leave those positive, encouraging comments that keep me going. And I thought I would talk a little bit today about like, why do I do what I do? Right. So maybe you've heard my story before, or perhaps not. But when I was young, just a teenager, I had this little sister. I still have a little sister, and I was trying to help her get to the dentist. She had a really scary experience as a little one where the dentist thought he could distract her and said, "Look over there, it's a birdie." And he didn't get one past her. She saw that needle coming, gave him a kick, and he almost got stabbed with the Novocaine needle. So she got kicked out of the dentist along with my mother, and everyone was traumatized, including the dentist. So years went by, and she just did not have an open mind about getting any dental work done. And then comes the time that she's in high school, she needs her braces on. And I tried all of my powers of persuasion, holding a mirror up in front of her and, trying to convince her that she needs her beautiful smile for her future and all of these different things. But her subconscious mind was not convinced that it was safe to go to the dentist. So I really didn't know what I was up against in trying to convince her, right? I like to think I'm so persuasive and so convincing. And I thought, I'm sure a chat from her big sister will straighten her right out. Well, that did not work. And I ended up going home. We had lived separately at the time. There's a little bit of an age difference there. I was already out of the house. So I ended up going home and just being very discouraged. And I had a friend say to me that her mom would be able to help with that. And I thought, well, how? Like, how? Who can help with this? And it turns out her mom was a hypnotist. So I took my sister to see her, and I attended the hypnosis session with my sister. She was a minor, and I just wanted her to feel safe, and I felt more comfortable that way. So I went into the session with her, and the hypnotist was very nice and kind, and she knew just what to do. So the whole time my sister kind of sat there with her arms crossed, and I like to say one eye open, so to speak. She didn't go under. She didn't have that kind of typical hypnotic experience that we expect, or maybe that we've been conditioned to perceive from stage hypnosis or from movies. She didn't go under. We left there thinking it didn't work. So we got in the car, and I was driving her home thinking, oh boy, I don't know if I should have spent time and money on this. And she says to me, I think it's time to just make that dentist appointment. And I thought, oh, I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? So we make the dentist appointment, and I went with her, and I was trying to help her with the hypnosis. I had a old Walkman cassette player so she could listen to the relaxing meditation as she was having her teeth worked on. And she didn't want anything to do with that. She really didn't even need me there to hold her hand. And then she goes ahead and tells the dentist she doesn't need Novocaine. She'll just let him know if it hurts. And I thought, well, that's different. So she ended up getting her dental work completed. She ended up getting her braces on. She has a beautiful smile to this day, and she has no fear of the dentist. So back then, I thought, wow, there's something to this hypnosis, right? Like, she didn't go under, she didn't go into a trance, so to speak, even though she probably did. It's just not what we expected that it would be. And what happened there was that her subconscious mind was spoken to, right? The hypnotist has a way, a cadence, a rhythm, a tone of speaking to the subconscious mind. And she was subconsciously convinced that two things: that it was safe to go to the dentist, and that it was beneficial to go to the dentist, right? And our subconscious mind, it has a job to do, and that job is to protect. That's why we can always kind of hear, even if we're asleep, if somebody opens the door, in our house, we're going to probably hear it, right? Like we always kind of are sleeping with one ear open or one eye open, so to speak. Our subconscious mind is there to protect us, right? So a lot of times we don't really let go unless we feel safe. That's sometimes the reason that people don't fall asleep easily at night. Maybe they're not feeling safe. Maybe they're not feeling safe in their nervous system. Like even if they know they're in a physically safe place, emotionally, they might not feel safe. So safety is important. It's something that we're always kind of like calibrating, we're always kind of tracking. So she had incredible results that continue to this day. And that made me very happy, but it also made me question like what is hypnosis and how could it work if she didn't have that regular experience, if she didn't go into a trance. So another component of that story was before we left the hypnotist office, and granted this is one session, okay, like one session she got her cure, so that amazed me. Anyway, so I was able to take some cassette tapes with me. She was so generous that she just gave me out of her library of hypnosis audio recordings 2 cassette tapes. And one I picked out, I think it was called Higher Self. It was just about like being your best self, kind of something I'm into still. um, the other one was back pain. And that was something that was just kind of nagging at me. You know, I was a young person. I hadn't had an injury. I hadn't had a car accident. I hadn't had like a big thing happen, right? But yet I really suffered with this kind of neck back situation. And at 19 years old, I got married to the love of my life. I went off on my honeymoon to first time I ever went, well, second time I ever went to a foreign country, but it was such a new experience for me. You know, I was young, I was not worldly. I didn't have a lot of experience. I wasn't even old enough to drink alcohol yet, unless I was in Jamaica. So anyway, here I am in Jamaica at this beautiful resort, and it was a beautiful day. People were outside playing volleyball in the pool. I remember just kind of feeling jealous, like all of this was happening around me, and here I am laying in the hotel room, and not even on the bed. There was this pink couch, like a velvet kind of a couch, and it was very hard, and I thought that would feel good on my back. So I laid there on this pink velvet couch, 19 years old. Sun is shining outside. I'm trapped in the room. I can hardly move with so much severe pain. And I decided to go ahead and pop in that cassette tape and my old Sony Walkman, and I did. This tape was like I had to flip it over, right? Like that's the thing about hypnosis. If you have to flip it over over the tape, you'll come out of your trance and you'll flip over the tape. Um, Anyway, I gave into this tape. Something about like being at threshold, like the pain was so bad that I wanted it to work. I expected it to work. I had this kind of like success with my sister that I thought, okay, maybe hypnosis can work for me. So I just was ready. Like the time was right for this tape. And as I lay there on this couch, I had this experience. The voice on the tape led me to a moment where perhaps I had stored, for lack of a better term, I'm totally paraphrasing, but kind of stored this emotional pain in a safe place, like a place that would allow me to kind of go about my life and it wouldn't, it didn't make me sick, right? Because our subconscious mind is very smart, doesn't want to make us sick, but sometimes it'll allow us to feel pain in a way that's more manageable than emotional pain. So all of that aside, maybe you're familiar with the work of Dr. John Sarno, but this is my original testimony of my first real experience with hypnosis. Just listening to a cassette tape. You know, I didn't pay for a one-to-one session. I'm just listening to this tape. I don't know what level of trance that I was in, but the hypnotist allowed me to see a time that I may have carried this burden physically instead of emotionally. And I don't want to share with you all the details of that, but I can just tell you that I felt guilty for being on a beautiful vacation, more opulence and luxury than I had ever experienced. I mean, I grew up pretty pretty basic in South Jersey. And here I was celebrating the love of my life, starting a new chapter. And I had unlimited food and unlimited drinks and unlimited sunshine and experience. And it was just like so amazing, maybe too amazing for someone who felt guilty about not being home with my brothers and sisters, with my family. And maybe I felt that if I was there, that they wouldn't be experiencing pain, right? So I don't know. We don't have to unpack all of my trauma, but that level of self-awareness that I was not allowing myself to have a good time, that I was feeling my pain physically instead of emotionally, I jumped up from that couch, like literally jumped up. That awareness of what was going on was so healing for me. And also that self-compassion, right? Like from a distance, I could see that it wasn't fair or right for me to kind of hold back and burden myself down when I had this beautiful opportunity to celebrate and that I deserve to be celebrated. So hypnosis helped me see that. And it was a really magnificent honeymoon and a really magnificent awareness that has stayed with me for my whole entire life. And on that trip, I wrote down in this journal, I can still see the journal, exactly what it looked like. And I can even remember the pen that I was writing with. It was just like so clear. And I wrote down that when I got home, I was going to get certified in hypnosis and that I was going to make hypnosis recordings and share them with the world. I'm getting choked up retelling the story. And I did. I went home and I got signed up with the New England Institute of Hypnotherapy and I did my coursework and I got my certificate and I started making recordings and I didn't have anywhere to like sell them or share them or anything, or there was no one that could employ me and there was really not even an internet at that time. So not like a real internet. So I kept that gift with me and I kept using it and, helping myself and my family and my friends. And hypnosis always stayed a part of me. When I realized that the thoughts that we think affect the feelings that we feel and the reality that we have, when I realized that our beliefs affect our perception of reality and that reality is true for the individual, I started to recognize the power in that. Can you imagine how amazing that is to figure that out at 19? It really helped me to not settle into a victim mindset. I felt so empowered knowing that I couldn't control a lot of things, but I could influence my own mind and I could influence where I put my attention. And after that, I continued to have many healing experiences with hypnosis, and I continued to use it to be my secret superpower. Whatever endeavor that I was after in life, I could either make my own recording or purchase one and fall asleep to it at night. And I could actually step into that reality. One of the neat things about um, permanent change is that permanent change really lies in identity. And hypnosis allows us to try on different identities, right? Like to try on what it feels like when we're healed. To try on what it feels like when we're our healthy weight, to try on what it feels like when we have confidence, to try on what it feels like when we have already reached that goal, to convince our minds that when we move forward, when we make forward progress and we don't give up, that success is inevitable. And this magical recipe of convincing the subconscious mind that something is safe and that it is beneficial, that can kind of disarm the conscious mind that stands at the gate, right? And it lets them know it's okay, right? It's okay. Go ahead and be distracted. A lot of times in my hypnosis sessions, you'll hear me say that you don't have to listen to the sound of my voice because your inner mind is always listening. And the words that I say can be heard and accepted. However, I want you to know that the way that all this works is that you will never accept a suggestion that is not in alignment with your values. And that's why, as a hypnotist, one of the things that I do is I try to Be artfully vague with my words because I don't have the answers. You have the answers inside of you. And um, gosh, I've just been kind of riffing right from the heart here. I don't even know how to check to see if there's anybody in the chat. So if no one is watching this, then I think this was very therapeutic for me. And if someone is watching this, please subscribe, please like, and please feel the heart and the intention that's in my hypnosis recordings that I share with the world for free. If there's too many commercials over here, then on Spotify or any of your podcast players, you can get the uninterrupted versions. So, whether you want to declutter your mind or declutter your space or reduce anxiety or let go of social anxiety or care less about what people think of you on social media or be your healthy weight or crave healthy foods, crave delicious nourishment, prioritize hydration, prioritize deep sleep. When you listen to the recordings that are on the Get Well With Me podcast, I use artfully vague language to convince your subconscious mind that it is safe and beneficial to believe these things and make them your reality. So I guess I'll stop there, but I feel like I could keep going. The love in my heart is so much. This is why I do what I do. I'm very thankful that I divinely stumbled upon hypnosis and not just the process of it and the miracle of it, but the philosophy of it, of recognizing that we aren't victims, that we have the most amazing gift. We have these minds that are capable of so much. So before we go and say goodbye, please subscribe, please like, please make a comment. It's okay. I can handle the mean comments too. I have had a few mean comments. They're pretty rare, but I'm always like, it's okay. I'm okay. I like who I am. Okay, this is our empowering question for today. You will never be younger than you are right now. So what will you do with your youthfulness today? We will never again be younger than we are right now. So what will we do with our youthfulness today? Okay, thank you guys, and I'll see you